makes billionaires even more rich. Like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, these guys are historically like rich beyond belief. Like nobody's ever come anywhere close to this level of wealth unless you go maybe back to Egypt, maybe then.
Comparatively.
Yeah, maybe
across history.
As far as I'm aware, yeah. I think Standard Oil might have been somewhere in the range. Other than that, like nobody. Like just in terms of the pure difference of actual access to capital, right? Obviously, the average human is also much more rich, or the average American anyway, than like your average peasant back in the day. It's a benefit to people in some ways, and so people are like talking about like, what are we gonna do when AI like frees all our work? It's like, it's not, man. AI is gonna drive the value of your labor to pennies. What are we gonna do with you when we have no way for you to justify your existence under capitalism through labor?
Bingo. Yeah.
The chicken god.
The chicken god. I think my chef is the chicken god, and I'm the inventory god.
So you're the chicken whisperer?
Yeah, I like that. The chicken whisperer, man.
Alright, the chicken whisperer, man. Like Caleb.
Yeah.
Motherfucking
yeah. Yeah.
Rogers. Sorry.
No worries, man. Jay Rogers, so it's in there. The J. You got it.
It stands for Johnson?
Well, no, my middle name is Jay.
Okay.
There's a J in there, so you're not.
You look like a Caleb Johnson for some reason.
I get Justin a lot too for some reason.
Yeah, Justin?
I get people call me Justin. I don't know why.
Probably get Alec Baldwin a lot too.
Do it? Is it the hair?
You got the Alec Baldwin vibes.
That's a compliment, right?
100%.
Yeah, man.
Welcome to the pod.
Yeah.
Here at Beyond the Hustle.
Yeah.
You know, we like to really channel different aspects of abundance, well-being, and of course the spiritual motivations behind successful individuals and what drives them and whatnot. And I thought you'd be a great guest on this show because I feel like, you know, you're a very authentic, genuine person, and your energy speaks for yourself.
Appreciate that.
But I feel like you do a lot of stuff.
I do a little bit too much stuff
that you don't really necessarily consider as like high level things. But like everyone, like I remember hearing your story and just doing a little research. And I'm like, yo, this guy is a beast.
Right.
You're an entrepreneur beast, bro.
I mean, the numbers don't reflect that. Maybe that's why I feel that way. You know, I kept jumping out of startups at the wrong time, so maybe that's why I feel that way. But
I love how people say that the numbers don't reflect, but like that's the funny thing about numbers, right? Because you know we've had guests on the show that like are in 7-figure digits, and they still feel like the numbers don't reflect.
Yeah, it's true. Every once in a while everyone says it's never enough. Yeah, you'll never feel successful if you're that kind of person, which is true. Yeah, but as long as I'm doing a bunch of stuff, that's enough for me. Like if I'm not, otherwise I'll feel bored, and like I want to fill my time and feel like I'm using it well, right? And I know that the like mindful spiritual answer to that is like whatever you're doing, like feel in the moment for it and feel like it's filling your time. But like if I have the capability of writing, you know, like on my blog, or if I have the capability of doing some engineering work or something like that, and I'm not, like at least some amount during every week, I am kind of wasting my potential, you know? I don't like that idea. I don't like wasting my potential. So, such that my potential is.
So you're all about maximizing.
I don't know, man, because I know those SEAL guys that wake up at 4 a.m. and like I'm definitely not there, and I don't think I want to be either. Like I know you got to sacrifice, you know. And I still want to play video games. Like I still want to just like watch some fucking Netflix. Sorry, can we swear?
Yeah, you can swear all day.
Okay.
Oh, let me get this fan real quick.
Yeah.
Can swear.
Yeah.
You can swear.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes I want to like watch some Netflix. So I'm not about like ultra maximizing. You know, I'm not like that level, but I do want to feel like I'm making the most of what I can make the most of.
Right. I get this sense that, you know, for people who leave the States, so to say.
Yeah.
And, you know, they take that journey, they take that risk, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
What first kind of motivated you to do that?
That's a good question, man. Because I feel like, I don't remember what number it is, but the vast majority of people across the world like never even leave their hometown. I think it's like 50%. And I know it's a really low percentage of Americans that actually even have a passport. So it is something I wonder, like, what does it take? Like, what's different about me? Is it replicable? There's got to be some level of privilege in there. I know there's got to be some of that. But what is it that made it so that I was willing to and other people aren't? Because I got friends back home that are suffering. You know, they're not doing well. They're in states where, like, you know, their medical rights are being threatened, or like, you know, they're trans or gay or something, or like facing violence and shit. I'm like, you don't have to stay there. There's safer, better places for you to be. But they're like, oh, this, that, I can't leave.
They come up with their own reasons.
Yeah, they got their own reasons, and I'm like, I don't know, what was it about me that made me willing to just like take the jump? certainly having a safety net. You know, like my family's not like super well off, but they're definitely better off than I would say like 50% of people easily, right? Like they have a house, right? So that alone. So there's got to be some of that going on. But I don't know, maybe it's my dad moved us around a lot when I was a kid, like Wisconsin, South Carolina, Texas, bunch of houses in there. So maybe like...
You were able to adapt to new environments?
Yeah, I hated
rapidly.
it. Oh, I hated it though,
Of course,
man.
naturally.
Yeah,
I went through that too as a kid.
Yeah, so you know how it is. Yeah, it just sucks. Like you lose all your friends. And I always felt like I didn't fit in. Like I always felt like an outsider because I didn't have, like my friends would be like,
You had to reset all the
oh,
time.
like remember back in second grade when so-and-so did this? And it's like, well, I wasn't here, you know? Like I got here a year ago, right? Like, so I kind of felt a little bit of that isolation. So maybe that caused me to always float. Maybe because I got ADHD and that kind of causes me to have a little bit more, just a little bit of neurodivergence makes you feel like an outsider. I don't know.
You had this, you had this opportunity ahead of you.
Yep.
And you were faced with decisions that you're wondering. People have their own way of analyzing their situation. Yet you're wondering, in your state, you made the decision to buy that ticket.
Right.
Bring me back to that moment. I'm curious because I want to understand a little bit more of the origin story of Caleb Rogers.
Yeah.
And bring me back to that moment where you copped that ticket.
It's a string of moments, man. Like the first time I left the country was when I went to the PRC in sophomore year of college to stay there for 3 months and teach English. And I had joined the student organization called ISEC, AIESEC. And to be honest, I think I joined because I was dating this girl that was in it. And this girl was like, she probably changed my life in many ways, man. This girl was a go-getter. Like,
wow.
There's many reasons. So she, like, everyone loved her, first of all. Like, she just was beloved by, there's not a single enemy of hers on the campus. And, like, on top of that, she was willing to help anyone at any time. And, like, she also just, like, straight A student and was doing all these, like, side activities, too. And, like, I was an asshole, bro. I was a dickhead. Like, I had this whole mindset. I had this early 14-year-old 4chan mindset. I was reading, like I'm lucky I didn't fall into the red pill pipeline, you know? Like, just, like, I had
just
this,
a master shit talker.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think I was just a dick, dude. Like, to be honest. I had this idea. It was a form of self-loathing, for sure. Like, there's many things about me I hated about myself, and I would, like, reflect that on other people who weren't meeting my standards, and I wasn't meeting my own standards either. And my own standards, by the way, were, like, absurd. Like, they were just insane. So, like, that just created all this anger and hatred. And, like, I started dating her, and she was, like, bringing me back down to the level of, like, empathy and stuff like that. And she was in this really dope-ass student organization that, like, their whole shtick is exchanging students on exchanges abroad. And so I was like, oh, that sounds sick. Like, I'll join that. I have this vision of myself as, like, a worldly traveler person, you know? Right. I was in, like, Japanese classes, and, you know, I'm a creative writing major, so I have no clear plan for myself. I'm just, like, a writer, like, international something, right? So, anyway, it was all kind of, like, building up into this idea. And I was like, well, I got to get out of the country somehow. I gotta like go experience it. And so there was an internship that popped up in Ningbo, Zhejiang province, PRC. And yeah, I don't know, man. That's
fire.
I can't remember like where the decision was. I think I just like, I'll tell you what my parents think. They think I didn't think. They're just like, you just went, you just like had no plan. You have no, like, you don't know anybody there other than the students that bring, you don't speak the language. Like, you're just doing it. Like, yeah, so. Then again, that's kind of how I just do shit. I just kind of do shit and like pick up the pieces after, you know. I trust my adaptability. I have this overall theory of humanity that we are the most adaptable organisms on Earth for the most part. Like we're all over the planet. I don't think anything's as widespread as us other than like rats and crows.
Just objectively.
Yeah, and so you think back on like all the things that humans have been through, like Ice Age, shit like that, like they've been in every climate, like they figure it out, you know? So I always just like, it's fine, I'll figure it out. I'll get there. There's like 1 billion people that are figuring it out. I can figure it out. I'll be fine. So I didn't have too much worry. I was just like, how bad can it be?
That's dope.
Worst case scenario, my parents will fly me out, you know? So again, there's that privilege there. Like, I know I have an out no matter what.
Right.
Right, so, yeah, man.
That's crazy. So I'm just trying to visualize.
Yeah.
So you just, all right, so you got the clear, you know it. You don't remember the moment you copped the ticket, but you went to PRC, you went to China.
Went to China, yep.
So what was that moment when you first arrived? Shocking?
Dude, well, first of all, like a little fucking stressful because I was going to blog the whole time. That was when I kicked off blogging. That was when I was like, I need to have, like, as a writer, it's like all my teachers were telling me, like, you have to write every single day.
So you did start blogging?
That's when I started, yeah. Right before, that's my first blog post I ever wrote was like, I'm writing this to test to make sure I can continue blogging in China. Like I had a VPN set up and everything, you know.
That's dope.
Yeah, so I had a little laptop I was gonna bring to like be writing up articles, taking pictures. I had a little like Canon, like little pocketable camera I was gonna use because this is when phone cameras still sucked ass. This is 2010, And
That's dope. You was in China in 2010?
Yeah, man, it was nuts. Yeah, so I left my laptop in TSA though. Like I just forgot it. I was like, there's so much going on in my head. I just like fucking left it. So I ended up in China without a laptop, and I get a little obsessive sometimes, man. To be honest, it's probably some of that ADHD shit. I'll just like, if I lose something, I'll just get obsessively focused on it. And so that was what I was all like worried about. But it was not a big deal. Whatever. You know, I bought a $200 laptop while I was there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
it's the loss feeling. I get like that too.
It's just like I can't account for it. I gotta email them and get them to mail it to my parents. It was like fucking $300 to mail it. It's a whole anyway. It's such a minor thing though.
Though.
Yeah, it's compared to what I'm doing, like this life-changing journey I'm on. It's funny the things you fixate on, right? Like it's a fucking laptop, man. It'll be fine. I can handwrite things if I need to. But anyway, so the students that are in charge of me pick me up, you know, and they're nice. But like I was just struck instantly by like we leave the airport and everything's a mega structure where I landed in Ningbo. It's just like the highways are like, you know, you're like looking up there, like, everything's under construction, and they're like, you hungry? I was like, hell yeah. So they bring me to like a Chinese fast food restaurant, and it's like one of those buffet style ones. You just grab whatever you want.
Nice.
And I remember like watching them eat, and they eat different than like these students do. Not everyone in China eats different. You know, I'm just saying like these guys ate different than me. Like they were like bringing the head down to the plate kind of thing. I was just looking at that, and I'm like, where the fuck am I, dude? Like, I've been here for 3 months. Like, oh fuck, man. Like
I'm really here.
I'm really here.
I'm not. It ain't
3
Kansas
months.
no more.
Yeah, exactly, man. I was like, all right, here we fucking go, man. Like, oh, okay.
Oz.
But I don't know, man. Like, I adapted, right? Like, I adapted. I figured it out. I mean, I was 19 or something at the time, so I was still very arrogant. Very much, and this is like in a city in China where people still like, whoa, white boy, like, can I take a picture with you? You know, so.
Yeah,
as a
19-year-old, 2010, definitely.
Yeah, 19-year-old white boy ego, dangerous place to put that. You know, like really feeding into that, like I'm fucking awesome kind of like that was an unfortunate side effect. Is I really got full of myself there, so I had to, you know, over the years overcome that again. I mean, it was fun though. Like it was a good time. Like
hell yeah.
Yeah, and very eye-opening, man. Like I never seen anything like that. That's a very interesting place, man. That's a very interesting country. Yeah.
And you stayed there for 3 months?
3 months teaching English. Lived in 2 different places. At first, I did a homestay with a local Chinese family, and I learned all sorts of interesting stuff about like land ownership. You know, I was still very American at the time. I was still like fucking commie shit. You know, like look at this. They can only own this house for 99 years. You don't have freedom. You know, like there's cameras everywhere. Like
yeah,
you know,
you were still like against their system.
Yeah, I mean, I still am, to be honest. But like,
in many ways,
but. Now I feel like I would have been different. Like if you sent me in that situation again, I would have been like, fuck it, like whatever, I don't care. Tell me more about how you live, you know.
Right.
But that was really cool, man. You know, there's a certain smell to China too. It's like hot metal, and whenever I smell that here, sometimes like it's still just like bang,
it brings
like hits
you back.
Yeah.
Hot metal.
It's weird. Yeah, it's just so much construction. Like, and it was a very hot place too, where I was. Yeah, but I saw a lot of beautiful things too. I saw some incredible. There's nothing old in the U.S. really. Like maybe in the East Coast, you get like 250 years old. That's it.
Yeah.
But in China, there's shit that's old, like old.
Potentially 5,000.
Yeah, man. I went to Suzhou and I saw like a pagoda. It's like their leaning tower at Pisa or whatever. And I don't know how old that was. I saw some old ass shit. I went to Nanjing and I saw like their Rape of Nanjing Museum, which is there was some shit in there. I had no idea. Like there's still like, you just learn some stuff about history. Everything that happened in that country is on a different scale. You know, it's like, you know, we get like our national tragedies, 9/11, it's like 5,000 people, whatever, tragedy. They have a tragedy in Nanjing, and it's like 2 million people. It's like, fuck, man, like that's such a different scale, right?
Yeah,
like
they've been through so much.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. So that was just like, it changed my, like everything I thought I knew about the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really feel like every American, especially Americans, or any other country that has an isolationist mindset really should just go somewhere else, like just for a week or something. Like it'll open your eyes up so much. Yeah
Travel is such a powerful,
you
know, it's an everything drug. It is the experience,
right?
On another tier.
Before
that trip to China, did you travel before, or that was the first
real trip, man. I don't think I had to. That was my first passport. I got my passport for that trip. I remember I had to go to Dallas to grab it or something. I had to rush process it. It was a whole thing. Before that, I hadn't even been to Mexico. I went to Puerto Rico, but that's still America, you know.
Yeah, Puerto Rico's dope. San Juan.
I don't think I got there. I went to see Arecibo, and we were in. I don't know. I was like 12 at the time. Yeah,
that's crazy.
And I got food poisoning, so I was mostly in the hotel, like chilling. Yeah. My dad was working there. Yeah, so.
From China, you said it was a string of events. Then what eventually led to Taiwan?
Well, so like that was life changing, living in the PRC, and it completely shifted my plans for my future.
I was like, I want to be an international businessman / writer. You know, I was like, just that was what I was thinking. So I came back to the U.S. I started taking Japanese and Chinese classes at the same time because I was thinking like maybe I can be like the guy that speaks English and Japanese and Chinese or something like
But you felt like you had to get back to Asia.
I had to get back to Asia, definitely had to get back to Asia because it was just such a better life, man. Like even in the PRC, like it was just a totally different, better life than what I had, especially in Texas. Like they have buses over there. Like I love riding the bus.
What part of Texas?
Houston.
Houston, right?
Yeah.
I did some time in Plano. Dallas Fort Worth.
I like how you said did some time, man, because that's what it is to be in Plano. I don't know what you were doing, but it is doing
Right.
time.
Right.
Sorry, Texans, man.
Nah, Texas is cool. We're
Yeah.
gonna be back in Texas soon. Austin, Austin's on the
I love
come up.
Austin, man.
I got
Yeah.
some friends out there doing some things. I'm gonna visit for sure soon.
Yeah, I mean,
I want
good
to
food,
check in.
really good food. Everyone's pretty cool. You know, they just got so many structural issues there, and like, I mean, the politics there just drive me crazy. Like, you can't get the medicine you need because it might trigger an abortion. You know, it's just like come on, man, just come on, like get it right. You know, get it right.
Yeah.
So that bothers me. I'm pretty open about that. So from there, the original plan was to get to Japan. Like, I was a total Japanophile. I wasn't into anime or anything like that. I wasn't that way, but I was into like. I forget the name now, but like old Japanese directors, you know, like those old movies. Like,
you were into the subculture cult films, the Japanese.
Yeah, I love that shit. And you know, just I thought it was cool and interesting and weird and different, right? So I thought it was sick. And so that was the original plan. I couldn't get the Japanese internship because who am I, right? Like it was kids that had like business, whatever, and all those kids got those. But the next year I got the Japanese internship, so I went to Japan that summer, and then like that was just like feeding the beast. And at that point, I knew when I got out of college, I had to get out of the States and go somewhere dope. So
nice.
The way I ended up in Taiwan was, if you do enough ISEC shit, you get to be on you can run to be like a national leader, get elected. So I applied to Ireland and Taiwan. Japan was out of the question, like that was too competitive. And then the PRC one was insane. Like to apply, they had really arbitrary like things you had to do, like sit on stage for 24 hours taking questions from other ISEC members, and like you can't even go to the bathroom or whatever. It's just like weird. It was so competitive for the China office. It just had weird shit like that.
For Japan, you mean?
No, the China one was that way. The Japan one was just like they'll just reject everyone basically.
Oh,
and
okay, I guess.
Usually only Japanese. Back then, Japanese people would get it.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense because you really have to be fluent Japanese, and that's just how like it's a business. Like the role I was applying for was business management. So like my job would be to lead the teams who would go out to local businesses and convince them to hire international interns.
Nice.
So like in Japan, you have to speak Japanese to do that, like fluently, and you can't really be like non-Japanese. They won't trust you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I applied to Taiwan. I don't think I knew what Taiwan was, to be honest. I don't remember. I don't remember when I became aware of Taiwan.
A lot of people still don't make the distinction. At least recently, Taiwan's PR has been fire.
Yeah, true.
But before that, it was like, oh, you know, I'm half Taiwanese.
Right.
Oh yeah, I love Thai food.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens to me sometimes too.
Right? So they didn't know the distinction between Taiwan and Thailand.
Right.
You know, most of the 2000s, probably even before that.
Yeah, man, that still happens to me. I mean, now it's in the news more for the Americans because like the stuff with the PRC, you know, and the jets and all that. Like I get asked that all the time.
Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
They fired good PR.
Then again, Jeremy Lin,
put him on the map. Jensen Huang is putting it on the map.
That's true now. Yeah.
Of course, the politics right now.
Yeah.
The chips. So
the chips are huge.
Taiwan's up right now.
Yeah. I mean, the chips thing was always a thing, but people just, I mean, that's like, I don't know if you read Chip War, but like that was like the whole thing about the book is they just, even the American military was not recognizing how important it was. Like they kind of were, they kind of weren't. But so I don't know. I got the position. I came here and I did ISEC for 6 months. I completely failed at that job. I was shit. I was bad at it. I was like in over my head, and I was just not a great guy. Like I wasn't very serious about my work. And so I completely failed at that job. Like just utterly. Like I suck to work with. I still feel bad. I don't know where my old coworkers are, but if they see this, I want them to know I'm really sorry about how much I suck to work with, man. Like I was 22, fresh out of college, like white boy in Asia, like all I was doing was dating on Tinder. Like I just couldn't. I was an unserious person, man.
One of those ex-coworkers is one of my best friends. That's why we did this podcast, just for that apology. So we're done.
Oh, okay, sneaky motherfucker, dude. Yeah. No, some of them still come to my restaurant and we talk about it, man. I'm embarrassed. I'm honestly embarrassed of how bad I was. I don't like to talk about it too much, but. So I quit that.
Shadow side.
Yeah, man. I quit that. To be fair, the situation was fucked. It was like $500 a month salary, and like I had to live in the office. Like that was my housing, was the office couch,
Yes,
and there was no hot water, so I was just showering in this tub, man.
You weren't motivated. You're like, what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could have done better, but like it was kind of a fucked up situation. So I just taught English after that, which, come on, that's such an easy job. Like for like the bushy bonds I was teaching at, and that was great for me. Like I got to like kind of get my shit together, I was like started reading like who's the guy who read Tim 4 Hour Work Week.
Tim Ferriss.
Tim Ferriss. Started reading How to Win Friends, Influence People. Like I went through the gamut of that, got into that phase. I was like looking into drop shipping, and I started really blogging. I tried to have like a type A tips kind of blog. Like here's some cool stuff. I tried to do
entrepreneurial spirit was starting to flare up.
Yeah, I got it deep. Yeah, I was trying to do. That's when I started lifting. So I was trying to do like high protein Asian meals or in Taiwan or whatever. I was trying to help people go to the markets and find good food,
Which kind of happens. That's interesting because a lot of times there's a stereotype of the foreigner who comes to Taiwan to teach English. There's a stereotype out here, right? Even my father, I'm half Taiwanese.
Right.
My father taught English way back,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Way back in the day at Donghai University.
Right.
And I think there's not a lot of credit that gets to that mentality behind that. Of course, you needed to get a job, you needed to make some money.
Right.
But that was like also an entrepreneurial thing, because I sensed that. Were you in control of your schedule when you were teaching? Were you kind of like, for a school? Or
it was for a bushy bond. So I mean, I could control my schedule by just turning down jobs I didn't want, I guess.
But I like that there's a moment right there where it's like, I'm teaching, I'm making some good money.
Right.
I'm in Taiwan.
Yep.
Very affordable.
Yeah. And
then your brain goes into self-improvement.
Right. Yeah.
What is that? What happened there?
That's what I wonder all the time, man. What is the differentiating factor? There's some privilege, but what is the other thing? Because that like
a privilege can also be self-manifested.
Yeah.
Because people with privilege are also still isolated and didn't do nothing with their privilege.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I know people that have none of it and they still achieved incredible things. But I gotta acknowledge it. You know what I mean? Because I'm a bit of a dickhead if I don't. Like, there's nothing worse than someone that's up here. Like, my dad gave me $1 million loan, and it's like, dude, come on, man. Like, at least acknowledge that you came from a certain starting point. That's like what we were talking about earlier. Like, there's no room for like that form of dishonesty anymore. So, but yeah, I mean, there's still a differentiating factor. And so one of my core philosophies is that I don't know if everyone has the same capabilities necessarily, but like there's a certain people of a certain success level and a certain way, like people who are like always at the gym and like really entrepreneurial, making lots of money. There's a tendency that I think these people have to think that there's something better about them. And there kind of might be, but I feel like there's other factors in there and that other people can come close or achieve the same thing. And that's what I want to discover. Like, what is the difference between the people that are this way and this way? Like the people who are down to just get home and watch TV every night and they're not really looking for much else in life, or they're too tired or whatever. Yeah. And the people who come home and like learn to code. Like what's the difference there? And I really don't want to think that it's just like something is better about the people that like have that extra level of energy, I
see what you're analyzing. That's interesting.
Yeah, because I want to teach it. I want to teach whatever it is.
Right. It's not a notion of, you're almost analyzing the nature of privilege at its entirety, because it's like you're looking at two aspects where we see the results of the entrepreneurial money-making machine, right? And you're thinking they probably think they're better, but that also is an idea that comes from a frame that we look at it in terms of they're better because they are attached to X, Y, Z. Right. But you're almost like, let's take away X, Y, Z. Let's understand what better is. Right. And then that goes to like, where's that spark? Right. That puts you on a potentially better path.
Right. So I have this is a whole ass theory. Now,
this is fire. I'm talking to a creative writer right now.
You need to stop me if I go too far down this path.
No, I'm not going to stop you. I just watched the Terrence Howard, Eric Weinstein podcast. Okay. I'm not going to stop you. Please flow.
Okay. All right. No worries, man. Well, yeah, this is like we have come to the core thing that I think about more than anything, which is motivation and like how to motivate people. And like, I used to be in sales as well, by the way, like recruitment and stuff like that. And what I learned is that like money is not a good motivator. You need money. Don't get me wrong, you need it, and you got to pay people well. And money can be a big demotivator if people aren't being paid fair. If they see someone else make, like there's issues there. But like the reason that a sales contest award is never like a cash payout. It's always a car or something like that. Is because money's just not a good motivator. And so like even like the most capitalistically minded sales leader knows like money really doesn't do it for people. So there's something else. You got to find some other way to motivate people. And I was talking to somebody recently about this because I'm an engineering manager, and like I was asking like, how do you motivate your team? And he's saying everyone's got different motivations. So how can we plug into that fact that everyone's got different motivations? Money's not a very good one to achieve the goal of like helping everyone achieve their potential. Because I mean, or some percentage of their potential, you know, because it's valid. If you want to just come and watch TV, that's valid. If that's the life you want, fine. Like, I think people should be allowed to have that life. Yeah. But if that's making you sad on some level because you feel like you're not achieving some percentage of your potential, then like, how do we help those people come up? You know? Yeah. And I don't mean like, it doesn't have to be entrepreneurship, making money or anything like that. Like, the people who I respect the most that have this kind of energy are not entrepreneurs. They don't make a lot of money. They're like open source project leaders or like civil rights leaders and things like that. Like people in politics, certain people like that. Like,
writers even.
Writers, don't even get me started. Like Stephen King, like that guy churns, man. I don't know how he does it. I mean, he outlines like his philosophy of staying productive is probably the most consistent one and the one that's probably the most correct, which is just like Mark Manson said this too. Like motivation doesn't come from inside and lead action. Like action creates motivation. You got to just do it, basically. You got to just do it. You got to just do your shit. And you'll become motivated from that. But that's a big step. Just doing it, that's a big step, man. Like, I don't know how to help people get to that big step, you know?
That's interesting, but you're curious about it.
That's my primary driver, man. So I've got the software engineering co-op, which there's a lot of open source work that we do. And I'm always like, of course I own it. So I'm the one doing the most. But there's people there who have told me they want to do more like open source work. And they aren't sure how to find like the motivation and time. I don't know what to tell them. Like, I don't know. I wish I knew what to tell them. Maybe they need whatever mental illness I have that makes me like unable to feel happy when I'm chilling. And you can ask my fiance, it's not the best trait, you know, not being able to chill out. It's not necessarily a good thing.
Right.
But I'm losing my train of thought. Yeah, so it drives like everything I'm thinking about. So I do that. I run a theme camp at Burning Man, and I'm one of like their volunteers there.
That's fire.
I was in the Boy Scouts. I was in the Sea Scouts. Like I have this whole like pathway of leadership and wanting to lead. But like I still don't know like how to do it right. You know, like I want to like my theory of leadership is not that I should be leading, but I should make everyone with me like also a leader. That's the core theory of my co-op as well.
That's very Lao Tzu, you know.
What's Lao Tzu?
Lao Tzu or Lao Tzu.
The
Confucius philosopher. Yeah. In order to lead, you have to stand behind lives.
I like that. Yeah. I like that a lot, man.
Yeah. There's some vibes in the Tei Tao Ching.
Okay, I
gotta revisit that too.
I listened to a philosophy 101 podcast, and that's all I know about the guy.
Nice.
I have a whole. Dope. That's one of my. You should see my to-do list. It's nuts. But that's on there. Like a couple philosophy books. Take notes in them. Like write up some flashcards. Like actually memorize it. Because I'll have these conversations, and there's philosophy bouncing around in there that I'll remember a hint of. I don't know who wrote it. You know, I'm just like I want to be able to talk more about that.
That's dope.
Like, philosophy fascinates me, and I would really like to talk more about it.
I can sense that. I can sense that you have a philosophical mind. I mean, that's really what drives a lot of the spirit of this show is that, you know, seeking knowledge or even remembering knowledge that's innate to all of us that is present in some of the everyday things.
Right.
You know, of course, you know, I always cite, I'm tired of citing this man, Maslow.
The hierarchy guy?
Yeah. I'm tired of citing this man.
Why?
Because he's so influential.
Okay.
Just that concept of needs.
The hierarchy of needs?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, from basic needs to security, to shelter, to self-esteem, to rising up to self-actualization. And I'm really curious about a world where the majority of people are self-actualized. What does that world look like?
Oh, that is like my whole fucking thing that I want to see, man. It makes me so sad that like if first of all, I think our society today could have like the first 2 or 3 tiers of Maslow's hierarchy like covered. Like there's no reason we can't have everyone housed and food. Like what the fuck, man?
Right.
Like, how rich is America? It can't keep everyone housed and food. Like that drives me crazy. Imagine the world we could create where people don't have to worry about that. I'm saying they don't even have to work for that. Like they could straight up do nothing and they have the food and housing.
It's covered.
Yeah. They're not going to have good watches. They're not going to have a nice car. That's fine. They're food and house. Like, what can we create?
But you become free to, like, at that moment where, like, like that's what I'm trying to get at. It's like, like you got the English teaching job.
Yeah.
In a way that was that basic need covered.
Exactly.
Because it's almost like it's something you can do almost fluently.
Right.
that it feels, it has an ease to it.
Yeah.
And I think
All you gotta do is show up, man.
I think everyone needs an ease of income, first and foremost, to the point where you're free to think now about, oh shit, like I need to self-improve. Like, oh, I'm interested in that. I want to study about that. Right. And your story is interesting because that, I know you just mentioned coding. Like you later taught yourself how to code? Sort
of, man. I mean, the first parts I did teach myself how to code. I went to Hack Reactor, which has it's a coding boot camp, and it has an entrance exam, and you have to, or an interview. You have to pass that to get in. I failed the first interview, and I kind of snuck in the second time. It was the guy's last interview of his career, and he's like, yeah, fuck it, you're in. Like that's my whole life, by the way, dude. Yeah. I just sneak
back door
every time, man. But so I taught myself to code at that level, which is just basic JavaScript and like learning how to do the loops, and like the interview for it was just like implement like each like map, reduce, stuff like that. I got to that level. From there, I did a boot camp for 3 months, and they taught me everything else. And then I just kept self-teaching after. You kind of got to stay on top of that when you're an engineer. I kind of, to be honest though, like it was like 2 days ago where I was chatting with Charlie, and I realized I've been an engineer for like 8 or 9 years now, and I'm like, I'm not where I thought I would be. To be honest, like I have not been working to the level I hoped I would. You know, I should have more languages under my belt by now. So that's a bit disappointing to think about. To be fair, I've been doing a bunch of other shit. The restaurant, I've got the co-op. I've been more of an engineering leader and manager. But it would have been nice to pick up another programming language. In the meantime, I got JavaScript, Python. Anyway, yeah, I did somewhat teach myself. It was when I was a recruiter, actually. During my lunch breaks, I'd be in there taking CS50X, like Harvard's like free course, you know? So yeah. I was doing that. Yeah, I was doing that. It made me feel really good. It made me feel like I was really doing something. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even have a plan. I was just like, oh yeah, I'm doing something.
That's crazy.
Time,
you just learning. You just soaking, sponging.
Yeah, man. I mean, that did lead me to fail my recruitment job too, though. You know, like I got fired from that job after a year because I wasn't hitting my targets, right? So I don't know, man. You're making sacrifices, right? Thank God though, because it's way better life as an engineer than recruiting sucks, man. That shit sucks. But yeah.
A previous guest was talking about the kick in the butt moments.
Kicking the butt moments.
Yeah, that life throws at you. Okay. Like these moments that kind of send you this way. Right. Or send you that way.
Yeah.
You know, even for me, coming to Taipei was a big kind of kicking the butt moment because
I'm sure
I had moved to Prague.
Oh, nice.
I was in New York, going through a lot of heavy transitions, relationships, etc. You know, my mom went through a very big health scare, and then before I know it, I'm in Taipei, Taiwan.
Right.
August 2020.
Right.
You know, I'm doing a quarantine 2 weeks.
Fuck, I forgot about that, man.
Yeah, I'm in the quarantine, and I'm like, all I got is like boxes of water.
So
So I start using that as weights.
I like that, dude.
Yeah, and then I come out, and I'm like out of prison.
That's true, man.
Taipei is like open.
How was that moment when you walked out of the hotel?
It was surreal.
That's crazy, right?
It was very surreal. Because that's the first time I was ever had to stay in a room for 2 weeks straight.
I've never had to do that in my life. That's crazy, right?
A lot of the world had to do that. So it's kind of like, I think the whole world went through like a mind fuck.
Yeah.
Like
we're still seeing the effects of that, man.
We're still rippling because we all experience the finite nature of comfortability or life.
Yeah.
Travel, all these things.
Oh yeah, everything we took for granted.
And
a lot of us lost people too.
Rug pulled. Yeah, rug pulled.
Yeah.
So it kind of like instilled this like drive that I think is now carrying over into right now. It's like kicking the butt moments.
Yeah, man.
And like, you know, when I met you the other day at the networking conference for the Gold Car, shout out Jonathan Liao, right?
Jonathan Liao, man,
just bringing the whole city together in different capacities.
Yeah.
I can sense that entrepreneurial energy in you. And like, you know, I know that I get hyped off of that energy. Meeting people that I feel like are constantly, you know, compounding and building and just like hungry.
Yeah.
I sense that. And you opened a restaurant recently, right?
Yeah, I opened, it's called the G Spot. G, like G-Row to T.
The G Spot, bro?
Yeah, the G Spot.
Seriously?
Yeah, G-Row, like chicken spot. Yeah, it's a good name, right?
Bro, why did I not
Why does everyone get this reaction when I tell them the name, man?
Why didn't I know this till now?
Yeah, bro.
So I gotta
it's
break
a chicken spot.
So I gotta... Yeah, look at that. Look, see? There's the laugh. That's the tell right there. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, in Chinese, G means chicken. G-Row.
Yeah.
All right? Eventually, we'll probably, when our mail gets nice with it, we'll have like, or the AI will have like automated subtitles, and then 我们可以讲中文话了, like 我们
I can recommend some shit for that, by the way. That's what Teddy Lai does. He has a whole automated system for that.
Oh, with like little subtitles?
Yeah, automated subtitles, English and Chinese. Yeah. I'll put you guys in touch. Yeah.
some guests we be speaking Chinese, but it would be cool for the audience to see some of the direct transit. So yeah, G Ro means chicken.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
This dude's chicken spot.
Okay, we were gonna
This
talk
shit
about.
is fire, bro. It's called the G spot.
Well, yeah. So
The chicken spot is called the G spot.
yeah, we were my chef.
Because you pun Chinese. That's genius.
Yeah. Okay, that's why the restaurant started. To be honest, we were gonna do markets and shit first, and then Charlie just texted me the G spot. I'm like, fuck it, we got to start the restaurant, man.
That's
we have
genius,
to start.
bro.
It's you get once in a generation genius stroke of like light like that. You know, it hit him in the head in the shower
The G spot
The G
in
spot.
Taiwan,
in Taipei, Xinyi district.
it's the chicken spot,
Yeah.
but it's the G spot.
Yep. You know what I just thought of? It's like the G, like not just like the G spot, like the G spot.
I just
you know what
like
I mean?
saying G spot.
But
I
it's
just
also
thought.
like now that people, it's kind of like the G spot, like the G unit spot. You know what I mean? Like it's
I was about to say
where
that.
the G's hang out.
Also,
I didn't even think about that. till
also
just now.
Andrew Tate shit too. Like
Yeah.
keep it G.
Keep it G.
I always keep it G.
Is that okay? Okay, cool.
What does G stand for you in that regard? God?
Uh,
Because G unit, yes.
no, I'm
50%,
hell.
Which is gang
atheist.
unit though.
Yeah,
That's gang unit.
I don't
But
know,
it's
man.
like-
Okay, first of all, I'm like the nerdiest white boy, so it's definitely not gang unit. I'll be such a poser if I said some shit like that, man. Maybe with a G6 shit. You know what I mean? It's like
Getting fly on a G6.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
G is a fire word, but of course G spot. You know, the
Yeah.
most mysterious.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
forbidden knowledge.
Oh, I like that. It is forbidden knowledge because nobody else makes these biscuits here like we do. There's a
Oh,
couple.
I was
of,
still talking about the G spot. Like,
no, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know
like-
how to navigate the real G spot.
Oh,
Now I'm fucking with you.
yeah, for real, bro. Same though. I don't know, man.
All right, back to chicken. Back to chicken.
I don't know, man. Maybe.
Back to chicken. Now,
Yeah.
I'm learning every day.
Yeah. Same, man. Same. No, it's a journey, right? Especially like you get a fiance. you
It's
gotta
a
get
journey with a
married,
G.
you gotta get. It's a whole journey, man. But yeah. It's I mean
All right,
that's
back
kind
to
of
the biscuits.
that's kind of our brand though. Irreverent. We're trying to be irreverent, not like super not safe for work, but irreverent. Like that's our vibe.
Wait, what's that word mean?
It means like
irreverent
imagine a picture of like Jesus skateboarding and like smoking a joint. It's a little irreverent.
juxtapositions.
Yeah, it's a juxtaposition.
It's
Yeah.
called irreverent.
Yeah, it's just kind of like you take something sacred and
I
you
like
make it,
that.
you tease it a little bit.
I
Not
like
like
that.
you're not like straight disrespectful of it. It's like ribbing it a little bit.
I like that.
It's a little irreverent. Yeah. So,
Irreverence. Yeah, it's a blendage.
yeah. I think I could be wrong. I don't know.
So you're going with that concept with the G spot.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We were just talking about though, because like actually our main thing is the biscuits. They happen to have chicken in them, but it's like when people hear us, they're thinking like, oh, you got like all kinds of chicken. You're like Weekend Chicken Club. That's another good chicken
Never
restaurant
heard of
here.
it.
And they got all these different flavors of chicken and all shit going on. But no, we're just like the Southern fried chicken biscuit, chicken tenders, bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. Like the biscuit's the focus. So we're like, do we fuck ourselves with this name? Like, I don't know. We've been
Oh,
talking
you put it in the name? The
The-
biscuits are in the name?
No, we were just talking about adding that actually. We were like, should we call it the G Spot
I
Chicken
mean-
Biscuit Shop or something like that?
I mean, you got Popeyes.
Yeah, but fucking Popeyes. Don't even get me started, bro. Those guys had like 2.4-star reviews, and then they started offering free French fries for a 5-star review. Straight up bribes, bro. And now they're at like 4.9.
Sorry, I think you pressed the red record.
Oh,
Sorry.
right, yeah, I did. That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Wait, so Popeyes bribe people?
5-star review for French fries.
So are you going to do that?
Am I gonna do it?
Yep.
Fuck, they're my competition, man. No.
You can't.
Give them. Nah, dude. Oh man, no. Like Charlie, my chef, and me too, has like the
The cost is strict.
No, man. Fries aren't that bad. Like, I mean, fries margin is pretty. I think it's less than our biscuits actually, but no, it's more like it's just come on, We don't need it. First of all, we're at like 80 reviews, 5 stars.
I know what you mean. It's getting to the point where when you see anything above 4.5,
Yep.
the viewer
It's
is
actually true.
the viewer is skeptical.
Yep.
I'm the same way. If I see a 4.55, I'm already like, what's the bribe?
It's at 10,000 reviews,
Yeah. What's the bribe?
Yeah.
It's its own. What do you call that in English, by the way?
A bribe.
No. The thing that is communicating to me that I don't need to know what they're doing to know what they're doing.
That's a good question. What would you call it in Chinese? Do you?
I don't even know. I'm trying to figure it out with you, bro.
What would
That's
you-
why you're on the show. I'm trying to figure shit out, bro.
I got the whole degree and everything. I should know the answer.
Exactly, bro.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
a creative writer,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah. It's like when you're trying to. It's like you can
Like reading between the lines.
you can suss out what they're trying to.
Yeah,
can suss
something
it
like
out.
that. It's
Yeah,
okay, sus. I think sus is
You
the
can
right
suss
word.
it out. Yeah.
Something sus. 10,000 reviews. 4.5.0.
Yeah.
There has to be a free Coke.
Yeah. Exactly. It's a bit sus. It's suspicious.
So you're trying to go away from that.
We don't do anything like that. We don't pay influencers. I kind of want to be honest, but my chef disagrees, and he's 60%. I'm 40 now,
Yeah.
and so at the end of the day, he
Who is
decides.
this chef guy? And
Charlie?
How'd you meet this guy?
So Charlie, you gotta get him out here. You gotta get him out here. I don't know.
He's next. He on the show now?
Yeah.
Where's he from?
He's from North Carolina, and he's like a ping pong champion from the U.S. And like he just got his master's degree in something from China. He's been speaking Chinese since he was 8 years old.
That's dope.
But he's like this white dude from North Carolina.
That's crazy.
His Chinese is way better than mine.
That's your biz partner right there.
Yeah,
That's
he's
Chef.
great, man.
That's
He's
Chef Charlie.
He's a good business partner. Yeah, we complement each other really well, in my
That's
opinion.
dope.
I don't know if
Congrats
it's
though.
but thank you. Yeah. So he's a go kart as well, and he posted on the go kart Slack like, "What's up? I'm in Taiwan. I'm into photography. I'm into videography. I'm into all this other shit. I like cooking and stuff like that." And I was just like, "Yo, let's grab coffee," and we did. And I was like, doing what I do. I was just like ADHD ranting on him, just like, "Oh, you're into this, you're into that, you're into that." Like I guess he liked that. And I invited him to my buddy Charles, who you should also get on the podcast. He was doing these like,
I would love to.
yeah, he's very spiritual. My God, dude, you would love this guy.
Boom.
Yeah, but he's really into like tea, and he was doing these like artist sharing events where you come and share your art. It could be food, it could be tea, it could be, I don't know, finger painting, whatever. And so Charlie came and shared his chicken biscuits, and we did a couple more events like that.
And
And
he tasted it, and it's a wrap.
they're crazy good, man. And that was back before he really like stopped. Like,
Are they gonna be open after this?
We open at 4, 5. Yeah.
My
Yeah, come on through.
gosh,
Our AC's
man,
busted.
right?
It'll feel just like this in here.
Hey!
Yeah.
You being like super cool and shit?
Yeah, we're so chilled out, man. I mean, I'm actually feeling pretty chill right now, despite
me
it.
too.
Yeah, I'm at home right now. This is
That's lit. That's lit. I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. So you kind of responded to a vibe.
Mhm.
Next thing you know, your business partners. You're running the G spot.
Yep.
I was gonna ask you too on that notion. I don't know if I'm freestyling with you right here too. Have you know what Armel does, right? He like
We talked about that. Yeah. So we talked
and
about
what
that.
Matt and what Madam Vision does. So it's like that could be
It could be a thing. Yeah. He sent me a proposal. I want to talk to him about it after this, actually. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for reminding me. I need to talk to him.
No,
about that.
I'm just freestyling.
No,
literally,
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I can feel that there's a great energy with this G spot.
Yeah.
And it's like I almost want to like, yo, what's good? You
You should put some of your art up in there, to be honest, man. We got my friend's hanging art in there right now. Like we're talking about turning into like a little, not necessarily a gallery or something, but we're open. We have walls and we're not using them, and I don't like not using the space. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I'm trying to get some people in there to bake. Like there's some bakers we know that this time the oven isn't on. Like let's get some stuff in the oven. Let's get the maximum usage out of it. We're paying the rent, like let's get the
it's
maximum.
the spot, bro.
Yeah.
That's all. That's one of my big passions, especially when I first came here.
Yep.
Was bringing that kind of New York energy, that communal. I always say New York City is like a dream manifestation device.
New York City's a crazy place.
It is a place where you can. It's like, I don't know if you ever seen that movie Dark City. You ever seen
I
that
haven't
movie?
seen it, no,
It's
no.
a wild sci-fi movie. If you guys want to check it out, it's dark actually, but
Yeah.
it's about these extraterrestrials experimenting on humans.
Fuck.
But like every night, they like inject the humans. They sleep.
Yeah.
And then they like shift the city. They change the
the
city.
fuck,
So
man?
everyone wakes up and they're like a new person.
Right.
But like they're testing about like the spirit, and they're
Right.
testing to see whether or not like two people who fell in love.
Whoa.
If you-
damn, bro.
Yo, it's a crazy movie, Dark City.
That's a scary thing about love, man, is like it really is circumstantial. Like, and like my fiance and I talk about this. Like we're clear about it. Like we love each other. We're dedicate each other. But we both know that like if I had like gone to Taiwan sooner and didn't go to SF, like we both would have found partners probably anyway that weren't us. And that's sad. It's sad to think about that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But it's like it is the truth of the world. You know what I mean? Like,
And
thank fucking God I went to SF and met her though. Damn, she's like way out of my league, bro. I'll be honest. Like, I lucked out.
That's cute. That's cute.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cute.
Yeah.
100% agree with that. We always got to be,
Yeah.
batting out of our league. That's the only way to.
Shock. I really backed down my fucking league with her. I'll be honest.
Hey.
Oh, way out there.
Shout out fiance.
Shout out Tammy. Yeah.
Shout out
yeah,
Sammy.
yeah.
But so that my point is like I'm passionate
Yep.
because I came here and I felt like there's a gap
In Taiwan.
in Taiwan
Yeah.
that is always fluctuating,
Right.
pulsating like a G spot.
Gross. I don't think they're supposed to be pulsating, bro.
I just want
I don't think they're supposed to be pulsating, man. You gotta check that
I just
out.
want to see how you
Yeah,
respond.
yeah.
Just throwing curveballs
Yeah.
at you. You knocked that one out the
Yeah.
park. But there's a gap, and I feel like it's a cultural gap,
Mm.
and I feel like there is something about I guess you can say American culture.
Sure.
We know how to have a great time.
Mm.
We know how to throw a good party.
Yeah.
We know how to bring people together,
Mhm.
and there's a lot to say when you do create a space or an environment.
Yeah.
that people come through and they have an experience.
Right.
You know, they have something that I call cinematic energy. You know,
Fuck.
it's like you want
Damn.
people to come into a place and experience cinematic energy.
I like that.
Where they're like, and I can't take credit for this. This is what I learned from Hakkasan Group. You know, Alan Yao with the Hakkasan
okay.
Group. You know,
Wow.
this is back in the day. I used to do mixology there.
Okay.
But it's like, you want to come step into a place and you're immersed
Right.
and you feel like you're in your
Right.
own movie.
Okay.
And like that's kind of what happened.
I like
Like
that.
you know, here in Taiwan, I think what was that sandwich shop that everyone loved? I forgot the name already.
Fuck.
Liquid bread.
Huh?
Liquid Bread Company.
Dude, what?
Shout out
oh,
Liquid Bread Company real quick.
So good. Hey, they're our
Damn.
flower supplier.
They a flower
Yeah, yeah.
supplier?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah.
Little things like
Yeah.
that where they're on the wave. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're walking into a movie like that.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like I'm walking into a sitcom.
Right.
Right? You're walking
Yeah.
into the sitcom. You're
Okay.
there with your homies. And
Yeah.
like
Okay.
nice patty melt. It's a sitcom, right? It's like
Yeah,
an American sitcom.
Yeah.
So this is what gets me hyped about your spot, the G spot. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
like you're in development still. I feel like you're still.
Oh yeah. If you come in there, you're gonna sense it too. It's a very much like a. I mean, it's small, bro. It's 8 ping. Like
Come on, you.
everyone's just talking. Everyone's just hanging out. Like yeah, that's how it is. Bilingual.
What's the location?
Not next to Taipei City Hall, exit 1, little intersection. Next to Awesome Burger and Chow Fan on the other side. So it's a kind of small little alley. It's kind of isolated.
Taipei City Hall.
Yep.
Exit 1.
Yep. Across, Geelong Road, just across
Across
the
the
street.
street.
Yeah.
G spot.
The G spot, bro. Little sign, little white sign. Also, you'll just see me.
Armel's
in there.
gonna
You look in the window, you see a sweaty ass me. You know.
A sweaty ass me.
Yeah, that's how you know.
Just like hand on the glass.
Yeah. That's so many. Yeah, true, man. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for that too. That's gonna be crazy. Where are you at now in this zone? Like what's exciting? What's hyping you up with this concept?
But the G spot?
Yeah.
Man, I get to meet a lot of cool people. I like that a lot. I've never pushed myself this hard, I don't think. The only other time I came anywhere near this level is the boot camp, when I was in the coding boot camp. Because that was similar. That was like 12, 13-hour days, and I was still working out. I think I was pushing myself harder then because I haven't been going to the gym as much now. I'm at the restaurant every day, so I think I was pushing myself harder in the boot camp.
Biscuits, bro.
The biscuits, man. Yeah. I kept my weight stable. I'm proud of that, man. I kept my weight pinned, 73. I've kept it pinned.
You gonna get back.
Yeah, I'll get back on the track. Once we get some more staff. Anyway, so it's exciting like that. I'm pushing myself really hard. I'm still doing my engineering work on the side. I'm still leading my co-op. So I'm really pushing myself right now. I like that. And it's just the possibilities. That's the most exciting thing. We have some pretty crazy conversations. You know, there's a long path ahead of us. We could be selling frozen biscuits at cafes. We could be catering. We could be doing markets. Like, we could be like, there's some restaurants that Charlie's taking inspiration from that have like, people will learn about the restaurant because they get into the fashion brand of the restaurant. And then they find out what the fuck, there's a restaurant behind this. So like Charlie wants to get down that path as well, like looking into fashion and stuff like that. Like he wants to build a whole brand around this. So there's some exciting possibilities there, man. And then as an engineer as well, especially, there's a lot of systems I want to build into the restaurant around like HR, around like payroll, around like inventory.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff I want to build there, automate as much as I can. I haven't had time, but I'm very excited about those possibilities. Yeah.
That's cool.
And the biggest one, to be honest, man, like businesses in Taiwan run their shit so unethically, bro. Like they're paying their people so fucking bad. That's why I started the co-op, actually. I was pissed off. These engineers getting paid $20-$30 an hour, and they're working for the same companies that are paying people $200 an hour in SF, you know? It's nuts. So my whole shtick was getting these contracts in the US and just giving them to Taiwanese engineers at like a US rate or close to it anyway. And like, if I do that enough, like who can stop me? Like nobody can poach for me. I'm gonna be paying people so fucking much money, 3 times the local salary. So we're gonna do something similar for the restaurant. We can't be paying people 7 times their local salary like I can for the engineering jobs. It's a different market. But we're gonna be doing like our part-time rate is $250 to $300 an hour. And normally it's like $170, I think, for restaurants. And we're offering equity. We're doing profit share. Like,
you're changing the model up.
Yeah, and we're not the only ones.
I've seen this in New York too. This is cool.
Yeah, so the slice shop is similar. I think there's like equity on the table for these guys. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know what th're paying or anything like that. But from my conversations with Eric over the slice shop, it sounds like they have a similar mindset of just like we're gonna run a business in a way that gets people having ownership. Like all the staff have ownership. They're not just peons. They're not just wage slaves. They're people who have ownership of the business, and that gets them invested. And that gets you ask more of them, but you know they're getting a lot in return. So that's what we want to be doing here. We want to be changing that model as much as we can. We want to give people ownership. Everyone that works for us.
So you're in on the long run for sure.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah. We're in it for. Yeah, I wouldn't be here otherwise. It's so much fucking work, man. It's so tiring.
That's cool though.
Yeah. You can't do it unless you're in it for the long run. Yeah.
So a small spot, do you see yourself doing some events, some block parties, some shit like that?
I want to, man. I want to close our street. Honestly, man. I'm tired.
I don't think I've seen that in Taipei. I haven't seen like a block party.
We should do it. I want to do it. If they could, these fucking cars, man. I'm like at war with every car in Taipei. But if we could just like cone it off and like all 3 restaurants next to us, 4, could have our tables out front. Like we would, they do that in New York. They have those alleys, all the tables out there.
But I wonder how the bureaucratic system. We might have to pull some strings.
You got to just, man, don't
Could
even
be some city stuff.
Do not even get me fucking started on the bureaucrats here. They do not give a shit, man. There's been all these protests about like the pedestrian rights and stuff like that. Every time we do a protest, they pull the rights back. They're just like, you used to be able to report cars that are just like parked in crosswalks and shit like that, and you get some money back. Man, if they still had that while I was here, I would be rich as fuck. I would be reporting cars left and right. I don't give a fuck, man. I hate these guys.
Yo.
So there's no political willpower here to do the right thing for pedestrians, bicyclists, things like that, which would help local businesses, man. Like, I'm watching people line up out of a restaurant and Uber Eats drivers nearly run them over. I like the Uber Eats drivers, don't get me wrong, they work real hard, but my fucking God, dude, like they're nearly killing our customers every day. Like one of these guys is gonna hit an oil patch one of these days and like take out 3 of our people, It's gonna happen. I'm just waiting for it. So I want to close off our street.
Oh, you getting lines out the door?
Sometimes, yeah. We sell it pretty quick, man. It's very hard to predict. Yeah, we'll be dead some days, and then other days we'll sell out in like an hour. It's so hard to predict.
That's fun.
It's the hardest thing about this business, yeah.
That's fun.
Because it takes 2 hours to make the biscuits. We got to brine the chicken for 2 hours. Like if we sell out, that's it, and we close in an hour. It's like, what do we do then? It's the whole thing, yeah.
So now this engine, so to say, that you're creating, this project, do you see this fitting in another macro vision of
for my life,
of your life, and where you're headed?
I mean, yeah, man. If we can get real successful, I want to start looking into using it as like a platform, as like an example of a co-op in Taiwan. There's not many. I'm not aware of any co-ops in Taiwan. I'm not aware of that. It's pretty rare in the U.S. as well. You got REI and a couple other ones that are like co-ops in name, I guess, but they're so massive that it's not really, like, it's not having the same level of benefit for all the employees.
Yeah.
So I want to like see what that would look like for a brick and mortar business. I want to start bringing in people to teach them how to cook, things like that. Like Charlie's vision is sharing like authentic American food with Taiwan, like real authentic. Because the other people that make biscuits, they're using Taiwanese flour. It makes an okay biscuit. It doesn't taste authentic, So that's Charlie's whole vision, and I buy into it. I like it, but how far can we take that? Like I want to see what that looks like. It's a totally new food category, man. Like if you're in the U.S., you know what a chicken biscuit is. You get it like for breakfast sometimes, right? But here it's not aware. So like if we can create a new food category, like put that on my sleeve, that'd be lit. Other than that, man, I don't know. I mean, like I need to start blogging about this. I haven't had any time, but like the journey of creating a brick and mortar business in Taiwan as foreigners has been crazy, man. We're not the only ones that have done it. We're not the first, but
there's gems to learn from the documented process.
You would not believe the bullshit we had to go through, man. Like we had banks just tell us no, like you can't open a bank account because you're foreigners. It's like that's illegal. You can't say that. Like you have to let us open a bank account or find another reason to reject us. We had people turn it like. I remember one banker was like, he didn't know what a gold card is. He was looking at it. He's like, these are supposed to be blue. And Charlie's like, yeah, it's a new gold card. And he's like, I don't believe you. Bring me all your visa application paperwork and I'll determine for myself if this is a real visa. It's like, that's illegal, bro. You can't ask him that. Like, it's a fucking card. Like, go look it up, So we had every place we went to rent from would tell us no. Like, well, Charlie speaks great Mandarin. Like, he'll talk on the phone with them and then he'll show up and they'll be surprised. They're like, I thought you were Taiwanese. And they'll be like, oh, we don't speak English, sorry, we can't rent to you. And Charlie's like, we're talking in, like this conversation's happening in Chinese, what are you talking about? So that happened a lot. My fiance's from Idaho, but we started just pushing her in front of us and being like, oh, she's Taiwanese, she doesn't speak Mandarin all that great, she went to Taipei American School, but she's Taiwanese. And then that was what started unlocking doors for us. Like, she's not Taiwanese, she is Asian, but, so we had to do that. Yeah, we had to start. And I'm down, man. I'm down to lie. I don't give a shit, man. Nobody in this country is paying their taxes. We pay our taxes. I'm going to be clear. Like, we're above the board. But I'm pissed we are because no one else is, man. Like, I'm so pissed at all these rules that we're following. Everyone else is breaking. Crazy, man. Yeah.
No, it's interesting. There is naturally an underbelly out here.
Yeah. Whatever, man.
That I think reveals itself over time. There's a lot of cultural stipulations.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's a great way to learn through friction.
Yeah, there's no better way to learn, right? Like, we learned a lot, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about Taiwan. I'm a big Taiwan advocate. I love it here. Like I think it's the best place in the world to live for most people, especially Americans. But it let me see like it's not. I always said it's not perfect, and now I know that for real. Like it's not perfect. There's some major obstacles in the financial sector, banking, like starting up a business. Like say what you want about America, but being able to start a business very easily there is probably a good thing. Like the fact that my co-op
That's
took me
a fire comparative.
yeah, it took me about an hour, and then I got a bank account. Like I applied on Chase Bank. It took me like 20 minutes to fill out the application. 2 days later, like here's your bank, here's your credit card. They mailed it to me in Taiwan. Like it took them 2 days. So meanwhile, it took us weeks, months to get our business application going for Taiwan, and we got fucked the whole way through. Like our business type is supposed to be one where we're not getting taxed. We don't have to issue the Dianza Fapiao, the receipts. So therefore, we shouldn't be paying tax at all, actually. But the government showed up and they're like, "Oh, foreigners! Oh, you guys are fine. You'll make lots of money. Don't worry. You're gonna make 250K a month. I promise." And we're like, "We're definitely not. I guarantee you, we're not gonna make 250K a month. Not for a year." And they're like, no, you will. I'll say it straight. We're not making 250K a month on average. Wow. And so we're still paying taxes if we are, though. It's crazy, man. It's fucked. Like, there's a lot of work that Taiwan needs to do in that front. And I'm not even, like, I'm a hella anti-capitalist, leftist, dirty anarchist. And I'm still saying the business environment needs help, man. Like, they need to fix that out here,
I think it's coming from a great place. And anyone listening to this should take that with a grain of sugar.
Yeah.
Like, this is coming from a person who I think you want more seamless integration of new businesses because that just promotes and fosters more money flowing into Taiwan, which is coming from,
especially in a diverse
it's coming from entrepreneurs. It's coming from younger generations, because I do think there is an attention, there is a spotlight on Taiwan right now, and this is the moment.
Yep. Exactly, man. And especially if there's a lot of engineers here that are wallowing. There's only so many hardware engineering jobs out here, and the rest are doing terrible Java work, like Java Spring work on these. You've seen the websites; they're terrible, right? These guys are floundering, man. And all they need is like a vibrant startup scene, churn out some ChatGPT wrapper apps, get some investment moving. Like all these engineers are growing up, like learning the new tech and things like that. Like Taiwan needs that. That's part of why I wanted to start the co-op. I was like, these guys can do great work. They're in college. They learn the new technology and they do it on their personal projects, and then they go work on some dinosaur company working on Java Spring apps. Like, let's get them working on cool projects for like American companies. So that was like the match I wanted to make there. A little bit cheaper for the American companies. These guys are getting paid more. They're working on something interesting. But that should be local. That scene should be local. And it's not like there isn't money here. You've seen Lambos driving around, man. There's money here. Like, there's investors. We've talked to Steve Chen and stuff like that. At the Gold Card Friends meetup, like. There's a bunch of investors there. They got money. So, but it's hard as fuck to invest in. I heard on the stock market here, the minimum buy is 100 shares. Like you can't like trade smaller than 100 shares. There's like all these weird obstacles, man. Like
I think that's rooted to the culture of trust,
right?
That's coming from Oriental Chinese culture.
Is it? Okay.
And you're getting in bed with families,
right?
When you're doing business. I think in the U.S. it's a lot more gamified.
Yeah.
In many ways, it's gamified.
But capitalized as well. It's like math. You're just doing stats.
Here, it's definitely more. The cultural undertone is more family bonding.
Interesting.
If that makes sense. Right?
I mean, there's advantages
which leads to the 100, right?
Yeah.
You got to put up 100 if you're trying to have dinner with us.
Okay, fair enough.
Right? It's like big risk.
Right.
Big bets.
But there's got to be middle ground somewhere, man. There's got to be like.
Perhaps. There's always going to be middle ground.
Then again, Taiwan is doing pretty well, man. If you look at the people, like they're happy, they're well fed, they have better healthcare outcomes than Americans. Like overall, they're doing great. They could be doing better. Is all I'm saying. Like I feel like there's a missed opportunity here, and that's true of basically every country on earth. Everyone on earth could be doing better. I don't know of anyone that's doing the best. So I just feel like it's especially sad for Taiwan because it's so close, to like maximizing its own potential. Like it's so right there. It's just on the cusp, right?
Yeah,
like the roads are in such perfectly maintained conditions, but then they won't have bollards to protect the pedestrians. Like there's just one little thing missing. It's like just one little gap. You know what I mean? Like
that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's a good That's a good metaphor. But of course, we'll keep churning. We'll see it because at the end of the day, I think the cross-cultural collaboration only creates more currency.
Yeah, man. I feel that
in different forms.
I feel that. I feel like as long as there's people that are coming in, the thing is though, you got these people coming in and that are not respectful. They don't learn the ground. I remember there was this guy in the Gold Card. I'm not gonna name any names, but he would say some shit like he would write a blog post. It's like, does anyone know how I can get in touch with President Tsai? I got some really good ideas I need to talk to her about. It's like, bro, know your fucking place, man. Come on, dude. Like, she's a president of a country, bro. Like, it's a big country, you know. It's not that big, but like,
Ooh, let me talk to the manager.
Yeah, let me talk to a manager, bro.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so we got people like that.
But he was dead serious?
Dead serious.
Oh, man.
Dead serious.
That's already like, I'll get it if it's satire.
This motherfucker sued me for a blog post, bro, because I countered his blog post. Again, I can't name names because he'll fucking sue me again. But yeah, we got. So my point is though, well, people coming in here that just like, they're just like, I know what's going on. Let me tell you how I'm gonna fix you. You know, it's like, no, learn what's going on here. There's an alternative path here. You know.
Shout out Shogun.
What's that?
You saw Shogun. You didn't see Shogun?
No. Oh wait, the TV show?
Yeah.
That's a great fucking TV show, man.
That's
exactly what I'm talking about.
Shout out Shogun. You feel me? Same thing still happening,
crazy
right?
Good show, man. Oof. Yeah.
Coming through. You think you know what's going down? Like,
no, you don't.
Nah, they've been.
There's changes that can be made for sure. That's what I'm saying, man. Like humans on average, you get them together, they trend towards like a good truth. They trend towards a good way. That's why diversity is so important, you know. And if either side of a diverse coalition is trying to force their own views, you're going to end up with something horrible, something mangled and terrible, or just some like really fundamentalist kind of point of view. It's not going to work out. But once you start merging, like there's a statistic.
Sounds like you described something real familiar on my timeline right now.
Oh shit, really?
As we're in election season.
Oh yeah, exactly, man. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So yeah, you polarize people like that. Like they both tend towards just like, well, I'm gonna say one side tends for some much more awful outcomes. But like there is an importance in merging viewpoints. Like there's a statistical study that like if you hold up a big jar of marbles at the front of a classroom and you get like everyone's estimate of how many jars or how many marbles in that jar, their estimates will be all over the place. But if you take the average, it's gonna be extremely close to the actual amount of marbles in there. So like humans on average are actually quite intelligent. Individually, we're fucking morons. But like you get us together, we tend towards good answers, good solutions, things like that. It's almost like I've always felt like humans are kind of a groupthink organism in a sense that like we as we communicate, we're thinking. Like that's our form of thinking. I think it's actually like an ethnographic like concept or ethno-linguistic concept. It's like there's people that think that we aren't actually thinking unless we're talking, and that's why our internal dialogue is actually how like our best mode of thinking is like a conversation. But point is, I think there's like pre-telepathy times. That's all we have right now. Yeah. If we could communicate our thoughts directly, that would be pretty lit. But I think that like there is a greater human organism that is like sort of thinking like as we're all talking to each other. You know, like there is. It's schizophrenic as fuck. You know, look at Twitter. Holy shit, it's schizophrenic. Whatever this human like global human organism is, but it's thinking. Like we're talking and it's thinking. You know what I mean?
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
That makes me think of where we're headed towards with technology and AI.
Yeah, man.
Oh, how does that impact your perception of the world right now?
I mean, I would say that, you know, like in general, like
Singularityism
or whatever it is.
Ray Kurzweil or something
Yeah. I got to meet him in SF once.
For real?
I mean, he doesn't know who I am. I'm not saying he was at conference. I got to say, hey, what's up? Love your shit. Yeah.
He smelled like a cyborg.
Yep, absolutely, man. Probably still is, or probably already was. Yeah, but if I had a religion, it would be that. You know, like I buy into that shit. I buy into the idea that like probably the most important thing to do is like get a good AI built. And that was why I wanted to become an engineer. Like that was a big part of it. I was like, I want to contribute to that effort. And then I found out I'm a bit of a fucking moron. Like I'm not that engineer. You know what I mean? I'm a competent web dev. You know, full stack engineer. I'm great at leading teams. I'm great at managing projects. But like I try to learn the machine learning stuff. I'm still studying that. I'm not that guy, man. I'm not that guy. Maybe I can lead those people. I don't know. But that was my goal. I wanted to contribute to like developing AI. You know, it turns out it's a lot of math. I'm not good at math, so.
That's cool though. I mean, we're still here in the wave. We're still here in the turn. Like
yeah.
A big inspiration for this podcast also was again kind of referencing what I spoke about this concept of a self-actualization. And you know, there was a meetup. Actually, he was at that networking. Did you meet Jason?
Which Jason? Sorry.
Is it Jason?
Is it the Jason that's like in the AI shit?
As well.
I don't know
Jason
if
Wu. He has a company that he leads called. Well, he does a lot of work with this company called LightDAO, and he had a guest called Jonathan Lin with a huge investment capital firm, and basically saying that all the money has moved to the AI sectors already.
Oh yeah, I see that.
It's already there. So. You know, whatever the chatter is right now about the issues revolving around it,
Yep.
you know, jobs, replacement, all these, like, so to say, small fears.
Yep.
It's like you're talking into what's that phrase? You're talking into the
void.
yeah, you're talking into the void or something, right? Because the money has moved. Like the money
From crypto to AI.
no, in general.
Yeah.
Like the investments are going towards AI.
Yeah.
Like across the board.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
AI, robotics,
Right.
machine learning, it's all coming. And the big kind of thought was, where does that leave humans? Like, do
Right.
we become more human centric or do we become more tech centric? And if we become more human centric, what does that look like for humans? If
Right.
robotics are taking care of
Right.
all the chores, you know,
Right.
restaurants,
Okay.
replace with robotics, two kitchens, two daily activities, daily
Right.
deliveries,
Right.
etc. What does that then allow humans to do?
Right.
Who do we become as a civilization? We'll
Can I get political with you, bro?
get it.
Okay. So I don't think under capitalism we've ever seen technology benefit humans. We've only ever seen it benefit owners. Like the classic, everyone talks about.
I had this question against him too.
Who are these
Like,
guys? Luddites.
Run with it. Yeah.
Everyone talks about Luddites. Like if you're anti-technology, they call you a Luddite. But the Luddites were not anti-technology. They were just weavers, and they worked in factories, and they worked pretty hard. But they were like the experts. They made the weaves, and then the automated weaving machine came in, and the Luddites burned them to the ground. And everyone's like, they're anti-technology. No, they burned them because like they thought when these weaving machines, the automatic weaving machines, were going to come in, the factory owners would be like, okay, your new job is fix these machines, keep them working. You know, we're all making a lot more money now. We're all going to share in this profit. And instead, they just fired them all. They're like, no, we don't need you anymore. Get the fuck out. And they were like, well, fuck you. We're going to burn your factory to the ground then. That was what the Luddites did. And throughout history, we've seen that new technologies, yeah, they benefit people in some ways. Like, of course, you know, penicillin, great. Like, I'm not going to argue against it. I'm not saying we should burn it to the ground or anything. But like, typically, the people that get the benefits of these increased productivity and like this decreased scarcity, it doesn't decrease scarcity across the board. It makes billionaires even more rich. Like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, these guys are historically like rich beyond belief. Like nobody's ever come anywhere close to this level of wealth unless you go maybe back to Egypt. Maybe then.
Comparatively.
Yeah, maybe
across history.
As far as I'm aware,
fascinating.
yeah. I think Standard Oil might have been somewhere in the range. Other than that, like nobody. Like just in terms of the pure difference of actual access to capital, right? Obviously, the average human is also much more rich, or the average American anyway, than like your average peasant back in the day. It's a benefit people in some ways, and so people are like talking about like, what are we gonna do when AI like frees all our work? It's like it's not, man. AI is gonna drive the value of your labor to pennies. What are we gonna do with you when we have no way for you to justify your existence under capitalism through labor?
Bingo. Yeah. So this is where again, this show kind of stemmed out.
Yeah.
Because I'm fascinated at what's gonna happen, and I don't want to call it a displacement,
right?
But I do feel like there's going to be an inward reflection point,
right?
An inflection, a massive inflection point,
right?
When people's identity is pegged to this concept of work,
right? Well, that's what our society teaches us, man. Like that is capitalism. How do you justify your existence? What form of labor do you use?
What are you doing? What do you do?
Yeah.
Hey, nice to meet you. What do you do?
Yeah, what's your job? Right? Isn't that so sad, man? I get it. Like, yeah, I mean, that's what you spend the majority of your time doing. And I gotta say, now that I see, like, I knew I was privileged, but I didn't realize when I was an engineer, working from home, air conditioning, nice. I was, working whatever hours I want as long as I got my work done. And then I started working in the restaurant again. I'm there 12 hours a day. I forgot that that's what most people on the planet are doing, man. They don't have any fucking freedom. And if they don't go to work, they can't pay their rent that month. It's crazy, bro. It's fucked up. And I think so long as like liberal democracies are allergic towards like socialism, anarchism, communism, these concepts are like, they're just terrified of them. It's like, I mean, great. Well, then your people are going to starve. Like when they can't work, they're going to starve because like you have no solution. What are you going to do with all these people when they can't pay for their...
Oh, this guy loves getting pressed.
Maybe put it somewhere.
Maybe right over
Yeah,
here.
just on the couch is fine.
I got you. Hey.
Anyway, man, I could get real boring about this, but my overall point is like we need to look at the politics and the social aspect of it. Like the technology, we're post-scarcity today. We could be post-scarcity enough. Like I said, like we have enough food for everyone. We have enough housing. We could build more housing if we need to. Like we're there already. New technology is not going to close that gap. It's only going to make our labor worth less and create an even bigger unemployment crisis. We could talk about universal basic income if we want. I think we should just, at that point, just cut out the middleman of the currency. Like, what are we doing? Like,
is that where crypto comes in?
My clients that are all crypto clients are gonna hate me for this, but I'm very like not a crypto guy, man. Like I think that I'm working on this blog post.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, what were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say maybe
Yeah.
is it because maybe you sense we're not. I wouldn't say. I think it takes a certain psychology to make it work because
Right.
there's too many bad actors in that space. That's the big issue.
There are a
I'm
lot of
seeing.
bad actors. Okay, I'll say this. So I live in two worlds, right? There's the anarchist side of me that does a lot of like different work outside of the capitalist side of me that accepts the world for what it is, and I run businesses. I get it. I build my clients. So I will say this, like our crypto clients, they pay fast and quick and they pay great. We love working for them. However, I believe that cryptocurrency as a whole, as a concept, is capturing like anarchist values and anarchist philosophy and redirecting it towards like a capitalist mode of thinking. Like in my opinion,
Ooh, that's a nice statement.
we don't need currency. Like, and replacing one currency with another is just it's taking all these people. The blog post I'm working on right now is like I read this whole thing by this guy who's trying to pitch. He's like, the big problem with crypto right now is UX. Like it's so hard to get new wallets, and like the cool thing about crypto is it like frees us from depending on like big states. Like it's an anti-statist point of view. It's inherently anarchist in that sense, but it's like what they call ANCAP, anarcho-capitalism, which is like schizophrenic. Like you can't have that. Like currency does not fit in with an anarchist way of thinking. And so it's unfortunate because all these people that we could have taken to our side that's thinking of creating a world where we don't need to just have people justify their existence with how much money they have. Like, and they're taking it towards like, no, you will justify your existence by getting paid in Bitcoin. The problem still exists. Like AI is going to get rid of these jobs, whether we're paying you in USD or Bitcoin or ETH, like the value of your labor is still zero once an AI comes in. You can't justify your existence that way. We need a different way of thinking.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's still a point-based system.
It's still point-based system,
We still as a macro society, tribe of humans, need a way to justify your existence. What is that?
And we're doing it 40 hours a week right now. What is happening, man? Like we're way beyond needing to do that. Like
so this does kind of lead to this concept of now again, people are like you said, they're afraid of those buzzwords, communism, anarchy.
Yep.
Right.
With good reason, to be fair. Like we got a history to look at. You know?
Right.
Don't
Right. There is there.
Yeah.
But I also see there's a bridge, or do you think there's a bridge between communism and perhaps spirituality?
Oh, fuck. I don't know. Where are you going? Interesting.
You feel me?
Okay.
I think on paper communism looks good.
Right.
From my limited knowledge of what I've seen. Like it's romantic.
Right.
Right? Because it's kind
a
of
utopian way of thinking.
It is, right? It's kind of based on that aspect of you know, the classic, the commune, and everyone's doing their job.
Yeah. Once you think along those lines, it's a little bit different.
We're all in a house.
We're not talking Stalin. We're not talking Mao right now. We're talking like classic. You know, read the history. Like look at what people are talking about. Look how Native Americans used to live. Look how these old societies used to live. Like they kind of had that. You know.
Right. So there's still that. There's tribalism in communism.
Okay.
But yet, there's still warlikeness and a battle for resource within humans.
Yeah, I know, but do we need that anymore?
But that's what I'm saying. So so now we're at this tipping point.
Right.
You're saying we can potentially realize that there's not a scarcity complex,
right?
Which would check off.
Not for the first two tiers of Maslow's.
Right. Maybe not for the first two tiers.
There's a scarcity of beachfront properties, of course. You know what I mean? Like that's not going anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'm still going to the notion of like, back to the beginning tribes, there was actually a scarcity of resources. That's why we had to kind of go over that hill and battle. But now we're at a point, we don't got to battle no more. It's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah.
And potentially, there could be a new system.
Yeah.
And this is where I think spirituality might come in, because I think we need to get to a point where I don't have that feeling of I need what you got.
Right.
I don't like why do we need that beachfront?
Yep.
If the beach, and of course this goes into privilege.
Right.
Conversations of what privilege means, or public.
Right.
You know, amenities, because you know, even me and my brother debate about it all the time, because there's so many people who already live off of the good graces of potential government institutions, and you know what I'm saying.
For me, I don't get it, man. Maybe because I'm not rich or something, but like I know people that are, and I don't get why they aren't sharing more. Like I don't understand. Like if I was that fucking rich as some of my friends, why don't you have like a party house that you just like let your friends go to anytime? Like let anyone go to anytime. Like why not? And I think it comes back to like this thinking. I think to get to that point in capitalist society, you have to have an exploitative way of thinking. Like it has to get evil in your head a little bit. You know, not for everyone, but for most people, like they can't have the desire to just like inherently share like with everyone, and also get to the point where they have the kind of money where they can be buying like these big beachfront properties. You know, because if I had $1 billion right now, I would buy a fucking building and be like, who wants to live in it? Go live in it. I don't give a fuck. Like, boom, there you go. Solve the homelessness crisis instantly.
And this goes to the spirituality aspects, where I think is the missing link, because to me the spirituality comes to the sense of like familiarity of, and you know, the root which I feel is family.
Right.
It's rooted in who you're familiar with and who you can trust.
Right.
Because of course the classic, once you give people, I mean, people can't have nice things, right? Because it's like
they'll break them down or what?
That's kind of, I think that's the seed of the fear for like why you wouldn't open your beachfront property.
Yeah, and to be fair, people probably would if there's a certain resentment towards you. You know, like it probably will happen.
So this goes into a new social experiment, and I think that's what you're playing with the co-ops, which is interesting.
That's my long-term plan. 10 years down the road, I want to have plot of land. There's this thing called Global Village Construction Kit. So these people out there are just every piece of like large equipment that you would need to build a village, a farm, etc. They're just creating from scratch. Like, so normally you got to pay John Deere like $300,000 for like a threshing machine or whatever. Right. They're just going to build it from scratch, open source designs. Here's how you build it for $70,000. You know, with these parts, you got to buy these components from these guys, or you 3D print this. So they get it all mapped out. So I want to build every single one of those pieces of equipment. You know, obviously we need some money to do this. So this is me. I have become successful in this 10-year vision. And then I'm just going to invite people onto the property and be like, here you go. Like, you can live there for free, no expectations. If you want to help us, if you agree with our vision, we got some farm work that needs doing, but like, no expectations. That's the experiment I want to do down the line.
That's fire.
It's a commune experiment. Every fucking burner I know has the same idea, but let's try it, man. Like, let's try it. What's the worst that could happen? The whole farm burns down? All right, fuck it. Like, then I'll just be a greedy millionaire and I'll be like, I was wrong. Turns out the capitalists are right. Fuck it. I'm just going to live the rest of my life. Like, if that's the outcome, oh well. But I want to find out, man. Like, I want to find out. You know what I mean?
I wonder if there's anyone kind of close or doing that experiment.
So I don't know about that experiment. There are definitely a lot of communes out there that are. I'm working on a project right now for Cohere. It's a new startup that they're trying to build Airbnb. they're kind of, I guess it pollutes my original vision, but they're trying to build Airbnb for communes, so you can like, you know, pay them a little bit of money. You can go stay in the property in a certain thing, you know. But so, and it shows you what activities they have. So there are people doing stuff like that. There are communes, and most of them have the expectation that if you're going to stay more than a week or whatever, you give back, you do some work. But there are communes out there, mostly in the U.S. I mean, in terms of this experiment, like there are anarchist districts. You know, there's the wild ass ones in like Portland or whatever. That gets, you know, America's like an inherently violent society, so they're kind of a violent place, and there's a lot of issue with guns and things like that. But then you have other ones like out in Athens in Greece, and I got to see these guys firsthand. And you know, it's crazy in a place like that. I wish America had this level of purity. In Greece, the cops have like the Z of like the like invasion, like the Russian invasive force on there. They're like, no, I'm a cop and I'm a fascist. Like, that's who I am. And then the other side, you have like, I'm a dirty ass anarchist. Here's my like, and they have that purity, you know. In America, people dance around it. Like, no, I'm not a fascist. Like, I just really like the idea of like immigrants being like rounded up and put in camps. But I'm not a fascist. You know, I wish we had that purity that they got out there in Italy. You know what I mean? But I'm saying like these experiments are happening. There's anarchist districts. I mean, I guess some might call Cuba and like other places like it like an experiment in communism. I don't know if I agree necessarily, but you could say it is. So it's happening out there, right? I just wish we had more experiments like that, man. I wish we were doing more of that, you know? What's the big harm? If capitalism's so fucking awesome and perfect, what's the harm in trying some things out, you know? Maybe it'll prove you right.
What would you describe Taiwan as right now?
It's a capitalist society, definitely. It's more socialized in many ways. Now, first of all, I'm going to tell you, some leftists are going to disagree. They're going to say that it's not socialized. It's a capitalist welfare state, which is a whole different thing. I disagree with them. Anyway, but they got the healthcare. You know, they got really good public transit. It should be free in my opinion, but you know, I'm crazy. And like all other things, like for the
U-bikes, all.
Yeah, I love the U-bikes, and that's a great example, man. Yeah. Now hold on, you're gonna build these U-bikes. Where's your bike lanes, man? Come on, like you're so close to perfect. You're so close. Like put some bike lanes in. I am at fucking, like I said, I'm at war with these cars, man. I close in mirrors all the time on my bicycle. Like they come at me, or I'll be walking on the sidewalk and they'll get in my lane. Close that fucking mirror. I'm gonna go to jail. I'm gonna get fucking
Careful,
merch
bro.
one day. I'm gonna get the
Careful, man.
shit beat out of me, bro.
Keep the G spot in your.
Yo.
In
Yeah, man. I'm gonna get the shit beat out of me one of these
it's like
days.
the G spot is like the
Yeah.
the picture of your fiance, like when you're at war. Don't
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that's true. I gotta remember. Yeah, but like I said, it's as close as you're gonna get for many of these places, man. And like there's really cool things happening here, like G0V. Have you heard of that? G-Ling V. It's like a hacker collective, I guess. It was started by Audrey Tang, the old digital minister. I didn't even realize that they aren't anymore. But yeah, so it's just a group of people, and we got stuff like this in SF, like civic hacking and stuff like that. But all they do is just like find something that they want to improve about Taiwan and see if they can engineer around it. So like one of the projects is like reporting illegal factories down south. Like it's just like an anonymous way to report these places. So there's all these projects like that. Like you can drop a G0V bot into your line chat with your parents who are constantly quoting fake news, and the line bot will be like, "That's fake news. That's fake news." He's so they got a lot of projects like that. So there's a lot of that's part of why I really love it here. There's a high level of political engagement and civic engagement by like young people here. They're engaged. They're trying to fix their country, the things that they think are wrong with it anyway. And I have a lot of hope for that. And it's a small country, and they're able to interface at a very close level with their politicians. If you want to fix things in America, I don't care how small your town is, you are not going to change shit. You aren't going to change a fucking thing, man. My representative in Texas is like tweeting about like, you know, like some trans rights shit happening in fucking Illinois. It's like, dude, you're my rep in Texas. Why do you care, man? Like, focus on the local issues. He doesn't hear me. He doesn't talk to me. I've gone to his town halls. He doesn't give a fuck. So they don't have that issue here. Like, it seems like the politicians are more engaged at a local level, and you can have an actual opportunity to change things. You know, massive protests they had a couple like last month or whatever, like made a real difference. You know, that a big thing that radicalized me was when I first came to Taiwan in 2013. That was like right when the sunflower protests happened. I had never seen anything like that in my life, man. And like that changed changed everything about my path. Like I could not believe the level of engagement. It was crazy, man. It was life changing.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're in the right place at the right time. I think what you're doing with the G Spot is just like it's its own experiment. I feel for you.
Yeah.
I sense that the more that I speak to you, that's part of a bigger picture.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And of course, you know the initial peace offering is great biscuits.
Yeah, man.
But you know, I can sense that there's these real deep, like, you know, kind of I would say, like almost like you have a missionary nature to you, and I think you do believe in the good of people.
Is that missionary concept? Somebody was telling me about this recently. Like, there's this idea. So you know the Emperor's New Clothes story? Like, okay.
Oh.
Let me know if we're trying to wrap up, but this will take 1 minute.
No, please.
So the Emperor's New Clothes story is like the emperor, like there's like a wise man, like a shyster basically comes in and sells the emperor like new clothes that are like invisible, is what he says. And the guy's like saying like only the wisest people can see these clothes. And the king is like doesn't want to look like a moron. So he's like looking at the empty hands of the salesman. He's like, oh yeah, those are beautiful clothes. Of course I can see that. And the guy's pitching it to everyone else. And the emperor like walks out naked into the hall, and like all the nobles are like, oh yeah, those are really great clothes. First of all, because they don't want to look like an idiot. And second of all, because they know if they say that guy's not wearing anything, they're telling the emperor that he's an idiot. You know, like they're you know. And then, but then there's one little girl who's like, Mom, why is the emperor naked? And like that little girl is like protected. She has like the missionary status. And then everyone starts laughing at the emperor. It's like this common knowledge idea is like needs the missionary to like present it, to be like, and the missionary has to be like immune in some ways. They have to be like a certain, like otherwise everyone's gonna be like, shut the fuck up, like, you know, or they'll just kill him. So okay, that's not what you meant though by missionary.
But no, it kind of is.
Right.
It is along the lines.
Yeah.
I actually did mean that. It's kind of like I can sense those undertonings. Those undertones of you do see the bigger picture.
Right.
And you do care deeply about the state of a functioning society, and you're hopeful for the good of humans. But through that, you're optimistic, and through that, you feel like there has to be some shit that we got to talk about.
I that is my deepest arrogance. My deepest arrogance. I only recently learned about this whole missionary concept and this common knowledge thing. But I looking back, I've always thought of myself as the guy that's willing to ask the questions that like nobody else is fucking
Raise
asking.
the hand in the class.
Yeah,
and
like we had.
Wait a second.
I remember Microsoft came in like talking about a partnership with one of my startups. I think I just asked him like, so what's the margin going to be like between our, and they're like, what? No, we can't tell you that. I was like, oh, sorry, I don't fucking know. Like, you know, but like, I feel like I got that on my fucking website on my values. Like, people should be allowed to ask anyone any question. Like, I think you should just be able to do that. Like what's the rate for this project? How much money are you making? Like, I think that those questions, asking those questions, I mean, within reason, like, don't fucking ask somebody like about their medical issues or whatever. Like, maybe like there's a line somewhere, of course, but like, especially when you're talking to corporations or representatives of corporations, like you should be allowed to say whatever you want. Politicians, you should be allowed to ask them anything, man. Like that's a core value that I have.
Pure transparency.
And that's my deepest arrogance, is thinking that there's something different about me that makes me willing to ask these questions. Maybe it's privilege, I don't know. That's where my deepest arrogance is. Like, I ask those questions. That's me. That's what I do. You know? Maybe I'm a fucking moron and that's why I ask them. I don't know. But like, I feel like I kind of got I've tuned my personality to be like, just like happy-go-lucky and little stupid enough to be like harmless when I ask those questions. I used to date this girl that really was like that innocent. I remember she was like, I was on the BART with her, and there was this like girl that was like bald, and she just like straight up was like, "Why are you bald?" And I was like, "Dog," and the girl was just
in
like,
Chinese we say "bai mu," right?
I don't know, is that?
There's a word for it. Yeah,
oh, really? I didn't know that word.
Bai
Oh,
mu.
I was like, but be like, what the fuck? And the girl was just like so taken aback by like the innocence of the question. She was like, "Oh, well, I had cancer and shaved it." So, and she was like, "Oh, sorry." And it was like a totally,
like,
it was a totally fine conversation.
Now that we cleared that,
and I was just like, oh, okay. But like, if you could pull it off with enough innocence, like you can ask anything, man. So that's kind of like my philosophy, you know? Like, yeah, if you can just be like, "Oh, I'm just asking, sorry." Like, I don't know. There's a line there, man, because sometimes you're just a just asking questions guy, like, you know, and that can go into like deep fucking like alt-right shit. You can there's a darker side to it, but for the most part, I think it's pretty harmless to ask these questions.
Well, I'm happy you really,
Yeah.
you know, I'm happy you pulled the trigger on a lot of
Thank
concepts within yourself, because it was very refreshing to chop it up with you.
Yeah.
And like, what gets me hyped too is just, you know, I love that you said like, how are we gonna justify our existence?
That's the big question, man. I can't believe you have to, man. I can't believe you have to.
But still, I hope
Yeah.
there's gonna be more places, and
Yeah.
hopefully this platform, this place,
Yeah.
is a place where we can begin to wonder how
Right.
to just justify our existence.
Right. Or do we need to, man? Do we even need to?
Do
man?
we even need to?
Yeah.
Do we even need to? I'll do tell you one thing though.
Yeah.
We definitely need to go get some biscuits, right?
Bro, let's
get
do it, man. Let's go.
My G. Caleb,
Yeah. All
Rogers,
right, man. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to have you
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
man.
Thank you.
Truly fun, truly inspiring. Anybody who wants to follow this motherfucker, where can they find you?
I'm not on shit, bro. I fucking hate social
So
media.
then you gotta come to
Caleb,
Taiwan.
I'll tell my email. Caleb@508.dev. Ask me anything. I don't give a fuck. Caleb508.dev. That's me. Just email me. I love talking to people. Email me.
That's lit. And if you're in Taiwan, or if you need a reason to come to Taiwan, type of City Hall, exit 1.
The G spot.
Yeah, we're gonna see you at the G spot. We're about to head to the G spot right now.
Let's do it, man. Yeah.
Once again.
Yeah,
My
man. Yeah, it was good, man. I'm honored, by the way. Thank you.
My
Yeah.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Hey.